Good day, everyone. I am Beverly C. Lima, and together with Margie G. Binalayo, we are going to discuss the Region 7, which is the Central Visayas. Here are the learning objectives of this discussion. Discuss brief background of the Region 7, elaborate the literary forms found in this region, and lastly, determine the popular literature artist or author in this region. Region 7 is also called or known as Central Visayas. Central Visayas, designated as Region 7, is a region of the Philippines located in the central part of the Visayas island group. It consists of four provinces: Bohol, Cebu, Negros Oriental, and Siquijor, and the highly urbanized cities of Cebu City, Lapu-Lapu City, and Mandawi City. The region is dominated by the native speakers of Cebuano. Cebu City is its regional center. The region is situated between Luzon and Mindanao, the two major islands in the Philippine archipelago. And Cebuano or Bisaya is the dominant language of the Region 7. So the land area of the region is 15,875 square kilometers. Here is the map of the Region 7 or the Central Visayas. We can locate here the four main provinces of this region, which is the Negros Oriental, Cebu, Bohol, and the Siquijor. So here are the provinces and its corresponding capital city. For the Bohol, its capital city is Tagbilaran City. Cebu is Cebu City. Negros Oriental is Dumaguete, and Siquijor is also Siquijor. So the origin of the Central Visayas. The name of the region was mostly chosen by American colonists to denote the centrality of the islands within the bigger Visayas area. There have been proposals to rename the current Central Visayas region, which is dominated by the Cebuano or Sugbuanon ethnic group, to Sugbu region, the former name of the region prior to Spanish colonization in the 16th century. The name refers to the former kingdom of the region, the Rahanate of Cebu or Sugbo in Cebuano. Next, here are some of the popular historical sites and tourist spots found in the main provinces of this region. First is Bohol. So Bohol, the island province of Bohol has a population of 1,102,048 towns and one city. The island seems to have even more history than usual of long and bitter fighting against foreign invaders, Spanish, American, and Japanese. So one of first the popular tourist spots is the Chocolate Hills. The Little Mountains Burol, aka the Chocolate Hills, are one of the best wonders in the Philippines. They are located in Carmen, Bohol. Next is the Blood Compact Monument. Dato Sikatuna, who was a dato or lord in the island of Bohol in the Philippines, made a blood compact or sanduguan, an alliance with the Spanish explorer Miguel Lopez de Legazpi on March 16, 1565. And lastly, the Sandugu Festival, one of the famous festival on Bohol. This festival commemorates the Treaty of Friendship between Dato Sikatuna, a chieftain in Bohol, and Spanish conquistador Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. So also we can find the famous and rare animal in the Philippines, which is the tarsier. Cebu. The Philippine province of Cebu includes the island of Cebu and a number of smaller islands nearby. The province has rich mineral resources with copper and cements. The leading products and also produces large amount of coconut oil, rice, and maize. So we are also from this province, the Cebu City. So first popular historical sites or tourist spot is the Magellan's Cross. Magellan's Cross is a Christian cross planted by Portuguese and Spanish upon arriving in Cebu. From the name itself, it was Ferdinand Magellan who brought the cross as a sign of the Christianity religion. Next is Basilica Minore del Santo Niño. It's a minor basilica in Cebu City in the Philippines that was founded in the 1565. And lastly, one of the popular festival here in Cebu is the Sinulog Festival that is celebrated during the third week of January. It is an annual cultural and religious festival held on the third Sunday of January in Cebu City and is the center of the Santo Niño Catholic celebrations in the Philippines. So Cebu City is also known the Queen City of the South and famous for making delicious lechon. Negros Oriental. First is the Canlaon volcano, also spelled as Canlaon or sometimes Canlaon. It's an active stratovolcano on the island of Negros in the Visayas section of the Philippines. Buglasan Festival is another famous festival in this province. It's an annual week-long festival, a celebration of the island's history and diversity of cultural riches. So Negros Oriental, it occupies the eastern part of the island of Negros, and the population has long been a mix of Negritos, Malays, and Chinese. So this province is also famous for its natural uh, natural environment, which is they are abundant of natural resources and other tourist spots. Next is Siquijor. So Siquijor is also known as Mystic Island of Central Visayas. Siquijor, the island of Siquijor is the smallest 343.5 square kilometers, least populous, and the newest province in the region because it is only a small island found in this region. So it is obvious that they have a small population. So the famous festival found in this place is the Solili Festival. The celebration is to reminisce the courtship period between Tokmo and Punay, and as a tribute to the newlyweds, merrymakers dance the Solili, capping the festivity of with shouts of Solili Binalay. Next, here are the languages spoken in this region. First is the Cebuano, which is the main and dominant language of this region. Language mostly spoken in Central Visayas by most of its speakers as Bisaya or Binisaya. Second most spoken language in the Philippines next to Tagalog. So we speak this language, the Bisaya or the Visayan language. Boholano, variant of the Cebuano spoken in the province of Bohol in the Philippines and eastern parts of southern Leyte. Hiligaynon, often referred to as Ilonggo, almost 5% in Negros Oriental speaks Hiligaynon. Now let's discover the literary forms of Central Visayas. First is the Sikalak and Sikavay. It is a Visayan creation myth. So here are the full story of this myth. And the synopsis of this myth is long time ago, there were two gods named Kaptan and Maguwayan. One day, Kaptan planted a bamboo in a garden. It grew and split into two sections and stepped up a man named Sikalak and a woman named Sikalay. Sikalak asked Sikavay's hand for marriage because there were no other people on earth. At first, Sikalay did not approve of this decision made by Sikalak because they were brother and sister, but because of the support and agreement made by the different animals they have spoken to, si Kalay finally agreed with the marriage to si Kalak, and they have many sons, many sons and also grandchild until the whole world was populated, and one of their son was Pandaguan, who have a uh, conflict and had a own problem and consulted one of the god Kaptan, and Kaptan was angry with Pandaguan, so he sent him in the infernal region, and but the gods took pity on him and brought him back to the world. But Pandaguan discovered that his wife, Luplupan, became the concubine of Maracoyron. And Pandaguan got angry, so he went back to infernal regions and never returned to the world. So the story is about how the first people appeared on Earth. It tells a story of equal birthing of man and woman throughout the archipelago that assert a woman equal position with a man within the tribal system. So this story also explains the origin of Cebu and Samar Islands, which is one of the uh, places found in this region, and also the origin of concubinage and stealing. So the moral lesson of this story is we should not only do things or decision if necessary, and we should always accept that everything in the world has its own reason, and we should obey the authority and only those that with moral policies or rules. We should not love. We should not to love or marry somebody else other than the one we married and we have promised to love forever. So we should also uh, have a loyalty to our loved ones or other family or relatives. Next is the legend of Dumaguete. Here is the full story of this legend. So the legend of Dumaguete was coined from the Visayan word dagit, which means to snatch. According to the legend, because of the frequent raids or attack of Muslim pirates or the Moros on the coastal town and its power to attract and make visitors stay, so they asked for help and prayed to Nuestra Señora and Santa Catalina, which they referred to as God, which protected the whole island so Moros could not go near the island because of the cloud of the beast made by these gods. Hence, they were not able to abduct all of the people there. So from then on, it was named as Dinadagit, which means they were not able to abduct the people living on that island. And in the present, it was already termed as the Dumaguete. It was Pedro Murillo in 1734 who indicated the present name of Dumaguete for settlement. So the theme of this legend, it is a story of the faith and hope of the people of Dumaguete during the times when their land is in trouble. The moral lesson is to have faith and trust in God and no harm will come. Next, let's proceed to the famous folk songs found in this region. First is the Usahay, which is composed by Juanito Angos. So the folk songs of the Central Visayas, by the way, is home to some of the Philippines' best singers like Pilita Corrales, Dulce, and Sharon Bridges. Most Visayan songs or music are written in duple or triple meter with a simple melody that is easy to sing. Some of the popular Visayan song we heard, I know, is Sipilimon, Pakitong Kitong, Ili Ili Tulog Anay, which is a lullaby song, Rosas Padan, are from this region too. So first folk song is the Usahay. So these are the lyrics of this song. So I already provided some I already provided a YouTube link, so you can watch the full video, the melody of this song. So Usahay is sung by Susan Fuentes, one of the famous singers in the Philippines. So Usahay is a Visayan folk song, which is a song for two lovers who didn't end up their love story happily because one of them have cheated. From the song, we can say that it is a song of a person who regrets or his decision of loving a person who is not loyal to their partner in terms of relationship. So the theme of this song is loneliness, pain, and suffering, which is a universal feeling too strong to bear. But because there are attainable odds, joy and happiness and triumph are inevitable and couldn't be far behind. The moral lesson we can get from listening to the song, we should always remember that the one we love may not be always be the one for us. So uh, there's the right person who will come to you at the right place and right time. Another popular folk song is Matud Nila, which is composed by Ben Subire and sung by Pilita Corrales, which is also a famous singer in the Philippines. So here are the lyrics of this song. And also I provided a YouTube link so you can watch and listen to this amazing song. So the song Matud Nila, it is a song of a guy who was discriminated by those people who surrounds him that he is not deserving for the love of the girl. They thought that the girl wouldn't be happy if she would only that kind of guy because they thought that only money and fame could only make a person be contented and happy and in life. And they also believed that money can make a relationship work, but the guy was hoping that the girl would still accept and love him truly despite of all the negative feedbacks. So the theme of this song, its lyrics depict romantic love, usually portraying the hopeless pleadings of a lover willing to sacrifice everything on behalf of his beloved. It is a mournful wail of the rejected lover or the broken-hearted man. It is a story of unrequited love. So it is somewhat similar to Romeo and Juliet story. Moral lesson, love is not all about money. It is sometimes the acceptance and faith. So it's just society who are full of judgments, which we can be affected sometimes. Next is the tigmo or riddles. So I have given some famous riddles found in this region. First is Balay ni Maria, Kipalibutan og Espada. So I already provided the answer, so obviously it is pinya or pineapple. Next, sa ibabaw kararuhan, sa ilalom kabatuhan. The answer is cacao. Now I've given some another popular and or famous riddles. First, dili Raina, dili hari, apan sa ulo may corona. So the answer is guava or bayabas. Next is baboy salasang ang tunok puro lansang. This is nangka or in English we can say it is jackfruit. Ipalit ko bisan og mahal apan magpulos lamang og magbitay. It is somewhat we wear mostly in girls. So this is aretos or arios or in English we termed it as earrings. So that is my topic and I will pass down the a further discussion with this region to Margie Binalay.
Hi everyone, I'm Margie Binalayo and this is the continuation of Miss Lima's report, which is Central Visayas. So, Proverbs in Region 7, Central Visayas. Example is, mahugno ang usa ka nasod kung walay manggiiya niini. Makaayo sa syudad ang daghang magtatambag. So, in English transition is, a nation is destroyed when no one is guiding it. It is good for the cities to have many advisors. So, that is why sa in usa ka municipality na-joy ka ng leader which is the mayor, no, para mo guide sa mga tao in that specific place. Second is, ang batang matinumanon dili magmalumpuson. In English translation is, a disobedience child will not succeed. So, this is true, no, kay kung usa ka matinumanon na bata is dili ka mag-succeed kay mura ganing dili ka kay ba mo respect, dili ka kay ba mo show respect sa imong parents or something or someone na mas nakakatanda sa iyo ba. And sunod is, unsaon ang kumpay kung wala na kabayo. Ang English translation is, what use is the grass if the horse is dead? So, ang meaning ani na mo siya kana unsaon pa man ang tabang na imong ihatag kung wala na imong receive ana, 'di ba? Like, it's better jud na kanang muhatag ka og tabang sa usa ka tao kung nga nanganahanglan pa siya, 'di ba? Kay unsaon man na nimo kung dili na niya needed. Ang next is mga poem. Ang Among Kabantang by Fernando by Sir Aquino, which is English transition is Our Pride, which is translated by Juliet P. Samonte, and the theme of this poem is, it is about the courage from the cruel ruler or dictator. People are equal and must unite against the ruler to attain freedom. And the lesson for this is, don't be afraid and stand for your right. So, nindot na siya nga poem kay it is because it shows na kanang people are equal, and there's it shows equality, no, and people must unite against the cruelty of the dictator basta. And next is it is, don't be a friend sufferer. Letter to Pedro, U.S. citizen, also called Pete. It is written by Rene Estela Amper. And the theme of this poem is, it is very funny, though it doesn't sound bad as it was, and the poem display of closeness of Persona and Pedro. He summarizes their childhood memories before the road and bridge was made. The creation of road gives the farmer access to the market and many other things. The rich becomes richer and the poor becomes poorer, and the women are left to become worse. Lesson learned ani is, never forget the past, learn from it. Stop colonial mentality if not minimized, no? So, nindot na siya nga story kay kanang tinumurag in reality gani, like ang mga dato kay mas ning dato pa, and mga pobre is mas ning pobre pa. It is because ang mga farmers, diba, kumutan-aw lang ta, ang mga farmers is anong da ay pobre man gyapon sila nga sila may mga gigikanan anang mga fruits or vegetables ano, di ba? Anong maka-question kita. And sunod is na very funny, the clay the clay pipe. So it is written by Marcel M. Navarra and translated from Cebuano by Teresita Jimenez Maceda. So ang theme ani is the clay pipes theme was about a family who didn't have much and demonstrated kindness and courtesy to their guests, providing food for the guests even though they have no food in their plate and their plate is not good. They often help their fellow Filipinos shoulder to find food and shelter, opening up their own homes to provide a temporary home whenever necessary. This exhibits the natural hospitality of Filipinos, and the moral lesson of this is Filipinos receive guests, even strangers, in a warm and pleasant way, often going out of their way to make the visitor comfortable. Being hospitable is not confined to the upper class and can be found among the poorest members of society. To hospitable isn't good at all. So, and this poem is kanang shows the how hospitable the Filipino is. So, 'di ba? If kana ganing ignan na may mga bisita ang imong mama jud ka di pa alam dai ipagawas ang kanang nindot nato na plato ang mga iyan na to show kanang to show the kanang guest ba na or mga visitors nga ato silang gi-value, di ba? Bisag wala gyud ka ng ipakaon mo mangutang jud sa silingan nga, di ba? And Moni ang character niya si Malta, the main character of the story, which is the wife of Imok. Si Imok, the husband of Malta, Dora and Talino, children of Malta and Imok, Lieutenant Mingoy, Guerrilla Officer, Sepa, residents of Lipatan, neighbors of Malta, Teroy, husband of Sepa, and Teban, one of the soldiers, and so the Tracks of Babylon, which is written by Edith L. Chempel. So the theme of this is the return reflects on the individual reminiscing every moment of being a youth and describes how he cherished every moment of his life. The poem stresses the importance of cherishing every moment and every breath a person takes in life. So nindot siya nga poem kay it gives importance of every moment. So no kana dapat i-give value jud nato ang mga memories nga naa nato kundra sa buhi pa ang mga tao, sa atong friends, sa atong family, dapat i-give value sa dato on kanang para naa tay kanang panghuna-huna on if whenever we are alone ana. So si Orcritones. So Orcritones is a poetry collection written half in English and half in her native Cebuano. Orcriton is Marjorie Evasco's second collection of poems, the first being Dreamweavers 1986, which she calls a book of regions. That being so, Orcritones is a book of changes, for it in it Evasco finds herself longing to write in her native tongue, Bisaya. The desire for change came as a result of a writing residency in Scotland 4 years after the publication of Dream Rivers. The poet in exile deals with her exile from her mother tongue, the journey that she takes, which leads her finally to such an attempt, begins at that point in Scotland and reaches across half of the world to the borders of the seaside town of Boljun, Cebu. It is there a writer workshop that Ivasco finds a creative link and atmosphere to write in Binisaya. So, next is the literary authors of Central Visayas. Mga famous authors or mga known authors in Central Visayas. First is Cecilia Manguera Brian Brainerd, and she is an award-winning author and editor of 19 books. She founded Philippines American Literacy House. Brainerd's works include the World War II novel When the Rainbow Goddess Swept Magdalena and The Woman with Horns and other stories. So Brainard's second novel is Magdalena, inspired the playwright Jocelyn Diona de Leon to write a stage play, Gabriella's Monologue, which was produced in 2011 by the Bindlestiff Studio in San Francisco as a part of Stories 12 annual production showcase original works for the stage by Filipino American artists. So she is one of the authors in Central Visayas. And the second is si Antonio Abad. One of the most famous Filipino writers is Antonio Abad, who was born in 1894 and died in 1970s. He was known as the El Gran Novelista de la Literatura Filipino-Hispana después de Rizal. Some of his novels include El Ultimo Romántico in 1929, La Oveda de Nathan 1929, and Daguhoy in 1939, El Campañón in 1939, and La Vida Secreta de Daniel España 1960, one of the last Filipino novels written in Spanish. He won the Premio Zobel for his El Ultimo Romántico and La Oveda de Nathan with Silviano Zaragoza, and Premio Concurso Literaria de la Mancomunidad Filipina for novels Dagohoy and El Campeon. So Antonio Abad is really famous in Filipino writers, no? She is dagan siya um dagan siya og mga written works na mga ni famous sad og dagan siya na receive na awards. So mostly of his um kana written works is Spanish, diba? Nagdisugya ko pa sa ato. And next is si Martin Abilian, another Filipino writer who contributed a lot in the Philippine literary industry was Martin Abellana, born in 1904 and died in 1989. Martin Abellana was a Filipino writer who hailed from the Visaya region of the Philippines. Aside from being a writer, he was also a teacher and was even elected president of an organization of Cebuano writers known as Ludabi. He served as Ludabi president from 1956 to 1959. Among his novels are Kinabuhi, Awit sa Gugma, basuni sa katingala ang tulisik sa tanlag ang kalayo sa sulad and lasi is ang kaulit sa kalipay. So si Martin Abellana is one of the famous na siya and dagan siya na contribute sa Philippine literacy industry. And known siya sa sa Visayas region in the Philippines. Next is si Consolacion R. Alaras. Consolacion R. Alaras wants to be remembered as the prominent of restoring the ancestral rule of language, literature, arts, history, and spiritual as the heart and soul of national development, transformation, and unity. She is a professor of UP Department of English and Comparative Literature. Her published books include Pamitinan, ang pagbubukas ng tipanan ng mahal na ina, 1988, and ang Kuweba Pamitinan, 1996. Rizal and the Katipunan Pilgrimage for Sacred Prophetic Politics in the Philippines for the World, 2001, and the Filipino Earth Charter Pamatalaan Dambana ng Bayan, 2005. So, Consolacion R. Aranas, ganahan siya nga ma-remember siya sa mga Filipino, sa mga tao as the prominent of restoring the ancestral rule of language, literature, art, and history, and spiritual of as the heart. So, si Diosdado Alisna was born in Karkar on May 18, 1909. Diosdado Alisna studied at the Karkar Institute, Cebu Provincial High School, University of the Visayas. He taught in the public schools, served in other civil positions, and retired in 1972 as administrative officer of the Cebu District Engineer's Office. He started writing in 1920. Alesna created the verse from Siniloy. His best poems are Ang Gahom sa Awit, Kalimti ang Biyai, and Si Kristo sa Balabag, all Ludabi Prize winners. So, si Diosdado is dagan siya ang kaniyang mga na ang mga written works niya is nakadaog o sa kanang all Dabi Prize, no? So, nandun yun yung mga stories. And that's all. Thank you for listening.